What's wrong with this thumbnail? You as a man, would you walk out in the street with an implanted wig on your head? And not just an implanted, any old implanted wig. We're talking about a wig with a texture that just doesn't grow naturally from your own body. Furthermore, have you seen any black men with this type of contraption on their headpiece? So you see, this is the level of madness that we're dealing with. And I ask, who really is the coon? Because a lot of people like to throw around this term, and it means so many different things. Basically, it means if you do something that me and the group do not agree with, you are a coon. So essentially, if you date other non-black people, you're a coon. If you maybe talk in a certain way, you are a coon. If you associate with certain things, you're possibly a coon. If you attend certain venues like theatre, plays, opera, you are most likely going to be called a coon. But then I ask, is this coon really a pejorative? Is it really bad to be this quote-unquote coon? Because everything that is in the orbit of the word coon seems to be upright, upstanding, straightforward. And look, I don't like talking about this subject, believe it or not, but I find that on this channel, because, you know, it's not my main talking point, it's not my main reason why I'm on the internet, here and there I need to just offload some bits just to make sure that I'm still sane, because sometimes it seems like we're living in a clown world. You see, I asked the question at the beginning of the video, and most of you, I'm pretty sure, would say that that would be a madness. That is crazy if I'm walking around with a Donald Trump wig on my head and no one's saying anything. In fact, people look at it as normal. So the fact that this can't be applied to the opposite gender is a sign of how far the rot has gone. And you know what? I blame black men for this, because black men have succumbed to the gaslighting from black women and also the shaming from the docile black men. You see, if a black man talks about or has an issue with weaves and wigs, the typical rebuttal is that, oh, why are you so concerned with weave? Why are you so concerned with hair? Are you down low? Like, do you not have more important things to think about? This is a very important thing to think about. And you see, if we want to run a functional society or community, you can't just let anything fly. There has to be order. As a whole, this is the problem with the relationships between black people. No one wants to listen to black men. Black women do not want to listen to black men. Black women feel like they want to do whatever they want to do. Black women might see black men as weak. Black women, at least according to the stats here in the UK, probably half have never ever lived for any amount of time with their fathers. So it stands to reason that a lot of them will be at odds with men in general. A lot of them did not have men to guide them. A lot of them did not have men who loved them simply for them. You know, not for some makeup, not for wearing some tight up trousers, not for showing their cleavage, not for what they can do in the bedroom, but just for them. And I'm not even trying to blame the single mothers, but I blame both parents who were faulty. But the reality is, and all I'm trying to point out, is that there is a glaring issue in this so-called community. And it reflects in many of the statistics that we might talk about here. You know, it reflects in many of the single mothers in the 21st century. Can you imagine that? We've gone from generation to generation of single parenthood. Even in my family, there are instances of single mothers. And the sad thing is, or maybe in hindsight it's funny now, but back in the day, these people had a lot of pride in their choice of mate. They believe that they had it down packed. They've had it, that, you know, they've got everything all figured out. And then a few years into the future, they are now the statistic. They are now a single parent, you know, so that humility is lost. And that is because there is a level of arrogance, and it's that arrogance that allows people to walk around the streets with a Donald Trump wig on their head, you know, with a Karen weave on their head. That's probably what I would call it, a Karen weave. You know, so who is really the coon? How can you accuse people of not loving themselves when every day you need to dress up in someone else's attire? And we're not talking about suits. We're not talking about dress codes. We're not talking about shoes. We're talking about genetic dress code. We're talking about altering your look to look like a different race of person. That is incredible. That is ballistic. I really don't need to go on about this topic, but at the end of the day, we still need to write. I mean, when I say we, I mean us with common sense and with decency, and those who have not succumbed to the shame. Like, those of us are pretty few, I imagine, but we still need to speak about the issues that are a part of our communities, because our kids will be affected by these weird life decisions. It's very embarrassing having to explain what a weave is to a young girl and telling her why she doesn't need it. In many cases, her mother has already taught her or made her believe that she needs it, because her mother looks at her daughter and she looks at her and thinks she's unattractive because she has her natural hair. Imagine how sick that is. There are mothers with dark-skinned daughters who are bleaching their skin or using these gels and lotions that lighten their skin pigment, or using makeup to brighten their skin in front of their dark-skinned kids. What message is being sent to the psychology of these kids? And when it comes to interracial dating, because that is like the genesis of the idea of this coon, who you intermingle with, who you procreate with. But when it comes to interracial dating, especially for black men, it's very difficult and it's very uncomfortable. That is the truth that many people overlook or just outright reject. You see, when you as a black man date non-black women, you become enemy number one. In various people's eyes, you will be frowned upon. You know, typically the men of those other communities don't like to see it. They don't want their kids to see it. They don't want to see it even on advertisements. And then the women of your community don't want to see it. Because an inferiority complex already exists, seeing you with this other woman just underlines that inferiority complex. You confirm that inferiority complex. See, wearing a weave was like 50% inferiority complex. Okay, I wish I kind of looked like this naturally. But then seeing you choose that other type of woman just confirms 100% her inferiority complex. And that kills her self-esteem that is already at a lowered position. The reason why black men will still do this is because it is, in many accounts, the better choice. You see, and it's not about race. There is no better race, but it's about self-esteem, confidence. The worst type of woman you could be with is a woman that has low self-esteem, because what that low self-esteem will drive her to do is to seek attention from other men and to be very provocative, to wear questionable things in the pursuit of other people's attention. This is a people pleaser who can't say no to bad influences. This is what a low self-esteem person does. They have no pride. They just go with the flow. They go with the wind. They go with whatever the TV advertisement tells them. Oh, it's a sunny day. I need to go out and enjoy this day because it's sunny, just like everyone else. This is essentially what a person with low self-esteem has. They don't have an internal guidance system, So it's quite ironic that you will see a lot of these single mothers with their children are still trying to look a certain way, still trying to look in a very hypersexual manner. Makeup, clothing, cleavage hanging out, bum hanging out. So men who have a healthy amount of self-esteem do not want to be with women with low self-esteem, no matter how good they look. If you look good and you have low self-esteem, usually you're going to just be a side piece or a bedroom buddy. There's nothing long-term that's going to come from that, because instinctively, to men with a good amount of esteem, they know that, this is not a good situation to take seriously, right? Someone like this would never listen or can never cooperate or take any sort of instruction, take any sort of criticism because of their low self-esteem. Someone with low self-esteem just wants endless praise even when they do the wrong thing. That is a terrible person to have as a life partner. Someone with a good amount of self-esteem will acknowledge any sort of correction, especially if she wants to be with you, if she wants to be your wife or be anything serious. And I think that's what a lot of black men find in some other groups of women. A lot of other groups of women are just easier to be with. Less disputes, less arguments, less fights. Understanding, empathy, reciprocation. You know, none of these, no nonsense breaking up because of some argument in the heat, and then you go and check out other guys, and then you want to come back because you realize that, oh, what you had already had was the best option, and rinse and repeat. No one wants to do that with anyone. And this is why, again, on the interracial front, a lot of guys will seek out other people from other communities. And again, it's a frustrating situation in many cases, dating outside of the race, so to speak. You don't know how their family are. You know, many people in society frown upon it. Many people in your community frown upon it. You travel to other countries, many of them frown upon it or look at you as weird or strange. You know, so who really is the coon? Let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you want to hear more videos like these, and I'll see you in the next one.